Hello, everyone, and welcome to my persuasive speech on why age limits should be required for Congress. Let's get started. The case for age limits. In our divided political climate, a common question that had been asked in the previous presidential election was, why are our options between two senior citizens? When surveyed during the latest election, less than 40% of Americans believed that either candidate had the mental acuity to lead. Escobar 2024. What is the solution, you may ask? According to 79% of Americans, the solution is age limits for elected officials. Gramlich 2023. This issue may seem like it isn't worth tackling due to the fact that the majority of citizens have advocated for younger politicians without avail for decades, but the issue is much more relevant than it seems. The ideal age limit may seem like a subjective and inconsequential matter of preference, but research shows that adults over the age of 65 experience a degree of cognitive decline that can impact their decision making. Boyle et al. 2012. It stands to reason that the individuals who make up the most important decisions that impact millions of Americans should have adequate decision making skills, or our futures could be impacted negatively. With this argument in mind, the following speech will explain how the age limit for elected officials should be 65 years old in order to avoid poor decision making and achieve a political climate that the majority of citizens want to engage with. 65 years old is the age where two things occur. Cognitive decline accelerates, and one reaches the median age for elected officials. Gramlich 2023. Age-related cognitive decline occurs as early as the age of 20 for educated adults, and it slowly progresses until the age of 60, when cognitive decline is sure to accelerate. Sothouse 2009. By the age of 65, cognitive decline has accelerated significantly to noticeably impact decision-making skills. Boyle et al. 2012. Physical health can additionally begin to decline and accelerate cognitive decline after the age of 60, with a relevant example being Woodrow Wilson's presidency, where the president had a stroke at the age of 63, which forced his wife to secretly take over his presidential duties despite not being an elected official, because the president was no longer capable of doing so. Despite the 25th Amendment being a potential solution in the case that cognitive decline impacts an older candidate, it seems that there have been many cases of decline being hidden rather than addressed, and zero cases of the decline being publicly addressed. Escobar 2024. The desire for power seems to make it so that the only solution to the issue is legally preventing this from occurring via an age limit. 79% of Americans desire an age limit for elected officials, yet no such age limit exists. Nearly half of Americans believe that the ideal age for the presidency is one's 50s, with the latter half of Americans believing that the ideal age is one's 40s or 60s. However, 97% of Americans agree that anything above the age of 70 is not the ideal age for a presidential candidate. Gramlich 2023. Despite the popularity of age limits, it seems unlikely that they will be implemented because it will require amending the Constitution via a two-thirds majority vote, which seems unlikely considering 50% of Congress is above the proposed age of 65, and they would be effectively voting themselves out of Congress with a vote in favor of this measure. Setting an age limit is tricky, which is why some have advocated for cognitive tests to take place after a certain age instead. Escobar 2024. Though constituents do agree on age limits being implemented, it seems that more speeches and protests, such as my own, will have to be implemented before Congress can be convinced sufficiently. The majority of Americans support age limits for elected officials, so it stands to question, why are there only age minimums? Young people have more at stake and are more impacted by policy due to the long lives ahead of them, yet they are rarely represented in Congress. Half of Congress has reached an age where people from any other profession are legally permitted to retire and often enter a stage where their children step in and begin to supervise their decisions. Yet, their case makes it so that they are likely to be chosen as elected officials that will make decisions that impact not only themselves, but the majority of the country. Though a path to an age limit is not imminent, it stands to reason that more Americans should continue to be outspoken about the need for limits until their congresspeople are forced to listen. Thank you so much for listening and have a great day.